All right, season greetings, and we're going to go ahead and welcome head coach for San Diego Wave, the great and powerful Jonas Eidevall. Jonas, how are you?
Hi, I'm fine. How are you guys?
Good, good. We're going to go ahead and just get right up into it. San Diego Wave season is starting up. Preseason is heating up, and we just want to get your take and your feel on the squad right now, and how you're kind of coming in and what you're seeing with the players, and what kind of squad you're building with the players that you have here into this new season.
It's a big question, but if we start with saying when I'm coming in, of course, now it's about assessing what we have and finding out how we can utilize that the best way possible, but also now to see like what do we need to add to develop in one extra level.
And then, I mean, obviously coming in and getting to know the players, who have you seen kind of stepped up in that leadership role? Obviously, we talked that training last week with Naomi Girma departing. She was a big leader in the team, but who have you seen so far step up into that leadership role?
I mean, obviously, like I said, it's really a good opportunity for more players here now to take a step forward and do that. But I mean, one player that I think both speaks well and acts well is the goalkeeper Kaylin Sheridan. She's certainly one of the strong leaders in the group, but there are also many more. So they will be interesting to build on.
And Jonas, I was wondering if for some of the people that don't know you or who you are, what kind of coach you are, how would you describe some of like the key tenets of your coaching style and what you hope to bring to this team?
Well, I think I'm a coach that sort of for me, football is everything, or for you guys, it's soccer. So for me, I live it. So it's about finding all the details that will make us to be successful as a team. So you could probably say I'm passionate. You can probably say that I'm very, very driven, and I expect the same thing for everyone around me. And if that's players, if that's staff, if that's other people in the organization as well. But I'm also structured, and I think that is an important part if you're going to be successful in soccer, because it's a quite chaotic game. It's hard to be in controlled possession of the game, and to be able to provide structure around so we know what we're doing, so we can be on the same page, which is obviously quite hard when you're 11 players in a game where it's hard to control the ball. For me, that is key. That should never be confused with being static and not moving, because you have to move. You have to make it a fluid game. That's a key principle in soccer, but you need to be able to be on the same page, and for that requires organization and structure. So I'm definitely a coach that would bring that as well.
And we've talked about the NWSL being a league of transition and just how fast-paced this league has been. How do you see yourself managing the high-paced transitional phases with the club that you have right now? Are you more anchored to bring up a high attack and score, score, score? We'll worry about defensive later, or do you want to go ahead and have that midfield that kind of pivots on both ends and just settle things in the middle and control the game?
Well, I think I'm sort of neither of what you're saying, and that was sort of my approach in the game. Like, for me, everything is important that we do. So for me, it's going to be important how we throw in the ball, for example. It's going to be important how we build in from goal kicks. But even so, we will need to have a really clear idea about how we do in all different aspects of the game. And I think this is true for any soccer team, that you will do everything in soccer. You will press high, you will sit in a mid block, you will be in a low block. Now what changes is the proportions of that. What will happen more often, and that sort of becomes your identity, but it doesn't change the fact that you will need to be able to handle all different facets of that. So for me, that's really important, that we have a clear idea, we have a clear plan on how we execute every single phase, both in offense and in defense. Then if you ask me how I see the game, I like to have the ball. I like to be in control of the game. And I see the league here and watching there, sometimes you look away a second from the screen and there's goal scoring opportunity and be like, wow, how did that happen? Like that's not like my brain wasn't wired for that. This could become a goal scoring opportunity in the next seconds. Like normally that wouldn't happen. And I think the league is so fast and sometimes so uncontrollable. But I think what we can control is our own actions, our positions. And for me, it very much sits together. The positions we have when we attack is always the positions that we start defending with. So if you understand that concept in soccer, I think you come a long way to start being a good team in transitions. And equally, the positions you have you defend is the positions you're going to have in the start of the attacks as well. So those things are so connected, and you can never separate them from each other. And sometimes when I was seeing San Diego play last season, I thought there was a disconnection between these things, which meant that you had a very expansive team sometimes in offense. And of course, if you lose the ball in those moments, now it's going to be very difficult to defend the transitions.
I love that. I'm hearing high work rates for
Yeah.
everybody. Let's get this
100%.
cardio going.
And I mean, obviously, upcoming, you have the Coachella Invitational, you have a game on the 16th, and then a few days after, your international players some of the internationals are leaving to international duty. How are you planning on just managing with so many internationals now in the team?
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's few international compared what I'm used to. Normally, this is holiday season for me. In the previous clubs that I've been in, it's only been 1 or 2 players left when it's international break. So I mean, this is different for me because here we actually have still a lot of players left that we can work with, which I think it's really useful for us to do. But of course, we can't work with the whole team. But that part we just have to work our way around. But it means also that this week leading up here to Coachella is going to be really important for us because it's sort of the last week where we have everyone that is here right now anyways that we can work with, and then we just have to take sort of a 10-day period where we work with fewer players, and after that we regroup again.
And something I've asked every Wave coach, I think, that's interesting is you have a lot of teenagers and really young players that are on this team. How do you as a coach like develop those really young players that are potential future national team players or are on their youth national team right now?
Well, I mean, the way I see the game is that you constantly need to be learning in the game, and we need to have a growth mindset. And I mean, that is especially important when you work with young players, because let's not confuse mistakes with failure. For example, for me, making a mistake is not being a failure, because you can learn from mistakes and you can embrace them and you can be better. And I think that's what we want from our young players, but also older players. We want them to try, we want them to do things, and from there on we can learn. And it's about setting that mentality and that environment where we become one day better and not just one day older. And I think if we are going to be successful, especially long term, it's also about developing these young players. And it's not going to happen just overnight, but if we fostering the right environment and giving them the right opportunities, then I think there are some really, really big talents there for us to work with.
I love that your approach is also very very bare bones about like soccer is a simple game, you've said, and you have to have complexity within that. And so with that, is your outlook on it performance based or results based? It's very easy to say, well, results, because that's what they pay me for, right? But you'd be surprised, we've talked with a lot of coaches that just say, well, at least they performed well today. Where do you go ahead and have that line of, you can just throw away how beautiful or ugly this win is going to be, but it's going to be a win? Or do you stick to, well, we need to harness this play style and go and make sure that at least we're developing into a certain identity?
I think it's such a great question, because at the end of the day, it's a results-based business. But what gives us results? Results comes from good performances.
Correct.
But then I think your point was really good, saying like, is a good performance something that looks aesthetically good, or is it a good performance that will lead to results? And I think sometimes that's a trap people going into and saying, like, when we talk about performance, it's about doing something that will bring us results. And that's what we need to get the best situations for our players or our team to be in. But my focus is always on the performance, because that's what's going to lead to the results. Because otherwise it could be true. We can be winning 2-1 and we play a terrible game, but the opposition wastes their goal scoring opportunities and we score on our 2 only. And we can be all happy with that and say, like, okay, let's not think about the performance. Let's just go next weekend. But we play the same game again, and now we're losing 3-0. And all of a sudden, now we're going to change everything. For me, that doesn't work. So constant focus on performance, because that's 100% within our own control on how we perform. But that performance that we're looking for should lead to results. Otherwise, we're thinking about it in the wrong way. So results are the most important, but you only get good results by focusing on the performance.
I love this. This is the safe space for you, Jonas, to ever talk football. We call it football. It's fine. It's football, soccer. All right. That
I
sounds
like that.
the
I
safe
still
space
have a hard
for
time
me
with
here.
soccer.
We do
Football
too,
is-
man.
And,
easier.
I did want to ask Jonas. Obviously, the field conditions were a big issue last season for the team and just Snapdragon in general. Has there been any concerns for you when it comes to pitch conditions for this upcoming season?
Well, I'm learning a lot about different grass types right now.
Yes, we are.
Yes, we are.
Yes, we are.
Like, I getting all the differences here now with the Bermuda grass that we're training on, and what we would have more like a European grass, and the growing season, how the soil temperature needs to be for that to grow, and all those things. So yeah, I think that's obviously a key thing because it plays a big part, and I think it's sometimes that might be overlooked. And I think the climate that we have here poses a big challenge in the way where we have the winter months here now, which is really nice compared to what we had in the UK, for example. But it poses the problem saying, like, the Bermuda grass is not growing.
Yeah.
But if we would have, is it called ryegrass?
There was a Kentucky Blue that we
Kentucky
learned.
Blue, yeah.
Okay. Yes. Yeah.
I think that only sort of requires 7 degrees in Celsius in soil temperature, so that would be growing now. And we played on that today against Utah and in Chula Vista, which was nice. But they will have the problem in the summertime with doing that, and I think that was what Snapdragon was running into. That they were having that grass type, and that was obviously not being able to go for the whole season. So yeah, a long story or a long answer on your question, saying, like, we're working with the pitch conditions right now. I think there is room for improvement, but I think these are all like learning points, but details that's going to be important long term for us to figure out if we want to be the football club that we want to be.
Absolutely. And you mentioned the scrimmage with Utah, some NWSL competition. What is the team showcasing that maybe you were surprised about, and how did that scrimmage go today?
It was good. I mean, we with all available players, we gave everyone game time, which was great in order to invest. A lot of the players that we have in as trialist training players got to play significant minutes, which was also really good for them to showcase their abilities. And we spoke before the game about striking the balance, about being competitive, but also to learn. Because I think you need to do both. Like, you can't play a game and say, oh, it's not important how we play. At the same time, you can't say that we're not allowed to make mistakes and we can't learn about it, or things that go wrong in the beginning of the game. We're just going to address that after. Like, we need to find a way of how we communicate and work together so we can learn during play and not just after play. And I think the players were brilliant in doing that. Then I think it was definitely a game it was preseason for both teams. It was good things from both teams. It was things that we're gonna develop. But it was good exercise.
I love that, and I love hearing your honesty. And again, this is a safe space for you to talk tactics, X's and O's. Let's open up the space, Jonas, as we go. And I'd love to have you back. We'll go ahead and let you turn back into your regular Monday night. Just one question. It's kind of a personality that we have here, San Diego Punto Football. Your favorite boots of all time, and why?
For me, it's the Copa Mundials.
Yes.
But it's a real coach's boot. It's not many players will play with that today, but it's a lovely, lovely boot. We hope they never get cancelled.
Oh, you can't get them in California. Sorry, Jonas. Kangaroo skin is banned in California. Just to give you a heads up. Anyways,
Is it? And I, of course, doesn't wear any either.
Yeah, no, yeah, 100%. But you can't get them in Arizona. Anyway, Jonas, love the time that you have spent with us. We'll go ahead and let you go for tonight. But again, good luck with you and the squad coming up this season, and we'd love to have you back. Thank you, Jonas.
Pleasure meeting you guys. All the best. Okay, bye bye.
Have a good one. Bye bye.